Midland Bank building over here is being offered right now at $16 a square foot. Now, I don't think anyone's going to pay that. They're going to have to settle for less than that. And I don't know if they mean $16 a square foot annually or monthly. But either way, even if it's monthly, it's double what it's costing us to run City Hall right now.
Okay. There was talk about your information. Are you getting all your information from the minutes of the meeting? Did you attend any meetings?
I didn't attend any meeting, but I did talk to people who were there. Some people who were there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with what they're telling you? Are the people you're talking to, are these the people who are all in favor of staying at City Hall? Are you getting a diverse?
I would say yes. I have listened to other people who may or not have been at the meeting. I don't know who are against, and I've listened to their side, read all kinds of opinions. Furthermore, as I said before, it comes down to there's certain things in life I don't feel you should give up no matter what. You know, things that your parents passed down to you, for example, they're part of your heritage. Those are things. Who's doing that right now? I don't know myself. We did get a secretary. Reluctantly, somebody took the.
But the first meetings, there was just anybody.
We didn't have anybody at the meeting.
Nobody. Okay.
I think the major difference between you and I is I'm looking at it from a financial end, and you're looking at it from a
historical.
Again, the square footage is right, but in the previous administration, we had looked at moving City Hall down to Guy Park Avenue. Amsterdam Memorial Hospitals had been arrangements. They were going to give us that building where the old New York State unemployment was at that time. And we would have had that whole area.
Okay.
The square footage doesn't need to be anywhere near what City Hall is. And we were going to remodel that building and move it into there almost practically for very little money because Amsterdam Memorial was going to give us that building. But that went by the wayside. They sold the building and that ended. But technically speaking, I don't like the efficiencies at City Hall. If we were going to wind up keeping City Hall, I'd like to see City Hall actually consolidated into maybe renting some of the offices like we do to Paul Tarko. That would be good. And making revenue there. I mean, but is there room? Oh, definitely. You could consolidate what's there right now.
Okay.
And I also think that if you're going to keep City Hall, you need to spend the money at City Hall. And right now, we're just in a tough situation. You know, and that's what I'm looking at. I mean, we're looking at cutting employees and cutting how much expense is it worth going that way? You know, you seem to feel it's worth whatever it takes.
Yeah, but I don't think whatever it takes is astronomical. I mean, of that 160,000, you can't save it all. Obviously, wherever you live, you move, it's going to cost a certain amount of money.
Okay,
and I think if the committee, instead of focusing on whether it's cost effective to move, worked on how can we raise money, what can we do to keep City Hall, like you said, consolidating, renting out things, maybe establishing a foundation that would raise money just for the overhaul renovation of City Hall.
I'm not closed-minded to calling in somebody like Ralph Gaetano or somebody of that nature that has the experience to give us we're going to need new windows, we're going to need a new roof. Right now that we have a new boiler system, but the heating system is very inefficient because it was like 100 degrees in the third floor the other day at City Hall because it needs to be zoned off. Things need to be done to make it worthwhile. And so let's get a price. Let's see how much that is.
Has your committee gone so far? I know you're still studying everything. Has your committee gone so far as to determine if City Hall moves?
No.
If it can be sold to a nonprofit, or can it be sold to anybody, or because it has historical stature, right?
I guess they had checked into the fact that it could be sold and looked at the deed, right?
And actually, being on a historic register does not prevent a new owner from changing a building. That's a misnomer that a lot of people have.
I thought it did.
No, I looked into that. I bought an old house on Queen Anne Road built in the 1760s. And my own lawyer, who's an intelligent guy, told me that I couldn't make any changes on it because it was in the historical register. So I did the research, brought it back to him. First of all, it was not on the historical register. Secondly, even if it is on the historical register, you can make any changes you want. The only thing that can stop people from making changes is to have it written in the deed when you sell the place. And the buying party has to be cognizant of the fact that they can't make those changes. So,
are you flexible, Dan? Are you flexible enough that if they can prove that the cost of repairs are high, they found a suitable place to relocate, and that there is someone interested in taking over the City Hall building, using it for a good purpose, are you flexible to say, okay, let's go, let's move?
I'm flexible enough to consider it at that time.
To consider it.
But my problem is, if that happened, you'd have to make such an ironclad agreement with the buyer that there's no way they could wiggle out of it. And as I mentioned in my article, you know about this Stanford Ingersoll home down in the corner of Balltown Road,
yes.
5, and what happened to that, and which is a travesty. And that's what I'm afraid of happening to the Sanford home. And that would be a blow to Amsterdam that we just don't need, I think, you know. And I just, well,
I mean, it's here's you got to look at it this way. I've run several businesses in the city over the years. I don't get attached to buildings, and that's because you can't in a business. I mean, I had Gateway Motors, I had Joseph's 2 on the south side in the city. I just don't get attached to buildings, and I can understand where you're coming from, because you're looking at it from an entirely different perspective than I am.
Well, there's a lot of buildings I don't get attached to. I mean, there was buildings on Brookside Avenue that came down that should have come down. I think it was unfortunate that some of the Victorian mansions on Market Hill, the ones behind Fast Track, were taken down. I was inside those. They're absolutely fantastic buildings. The Chalmers building, it's not the most beautiful building in the world. If it comes down, it's not the end of the world. And the damage that's been done to Amsterdam, for the most part, was already done before I was around. But City Hall is a special building from many points of view. And I would hate to see anything.
And I agree with you 100% on the damage that was done in Amsterdam.
Right. It had nothing to do with any of us here.
People fought not to have this building that we're in here.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's here.
Yeah.
We have to deal with
exactly.
it.
We have to work around it.
Yeah. But I remember Lou Petrosino. I was good friends with Lou. I was young then. That's when I opened up the Rialto Theater over on Market Street.
That was a classic, too.
That thing was closed for years, and I had opened it up when I was in high school. Probably had a war with my father because But that place had floors of dressing rooms in the side of that building.
Right.
With old vaudeville stuff in there. And you know what we did with it? We tore it down and threw it all. I don't know if it went anywhere or why.
No.
It's buried.
Right.
I mean, there's a treasure that should have never.
I mean, could you see other cities like Schenectady with Proctor's and what they've done to that is fabulous, you know?
Oh, yeah. That should have never gone away.
We've got to work with what we got now.
I mean, we've done a lot of damage before.
Right, and that's why I don't want to see anything else lost that shouldn't be lost.
You said that twice now. You said that you didn't want to see a historical building lost.
Right.
If there was a guarantee that someone reputable was going to take it over and keep it in a historical stature and all that, would you change your mind?
I would consider changing my mind.
You would consider
it that way.
Okay.
I would have to read. I'd have to read the agreement. I'd have to,
What would you like to see go in there? Let's say a decision is made to move City Hall. What would you like to see go in there specifically?
That I haven't thought enough about because I want it there. I want it the way it is. I mean, it's such a beautiful building. For example, when the mayor of Amsterdam, Holland, or whatever he's called there, Burgomaster or whatever came, what a beautiful building to receive him in, I mean...
yeah, but there's no saying that you can't have another beautiful building.
But where? I mean, build one or what? Or buy one?
That I don't know, but I'm just saying there's no law saying you can't have another. Probably wouldn't have the historical stature, but still could be a beautiful building.
At this point in time, I don't see anything like that on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people, and again, it's split just like you and I are on this issue. There's the financial people who say they don't want to pay more taxes, and there's the other people who say at any cost you leave City Hall there. We have a lot of issues now.
Well, I'm on both sides in a way. I don't want to see taxes go up either.
I know you're a property owner.
Well, and I'm basically a fiscal conservative.